Hello and welcome to the Afri-Dominion Show. My name is Freeman, Singirankabo, and thank you for tuning into our program today. Those of you joining us live, especially if you're joining us live from the social media like Facebook and YouTube, welcome. Be sure to share our program, subscribe and follow to our subscription page or the page that we share with you contents on social media. Why do we ask that? We want you to have an opportunity to come and hang out with us, have a conversation with us in real time as it happens. And we also want to let you know that in this show, we speak frankly, we speak boldly, and we speak with no apologies. And it is in this spirit that everything we share with you, it's going to be driven by the spirit of truth, love, and trust. And we hope that these are going to be the benchmarks by which you can actually measure both the integrity and the validity of the content that we share with you today. And with that in mind, we also welcome all your feedbacks. We very much want to hear from you. Get to know what it is that you feel, what it is that you have to say about the programs that we are bringing to you. And with that in mind, we want you to make sure that you also support, give us a hand, support any of the programs that you see coming home to you, that you see speaking to you, heartbeat, and make sure that you support them, because we are working very hard so that we can be able to become a true voice for the voiceless and make sure that the access to the media, the access to information, it is not just an exclusive access to the very few. We want you to be able to speak your truth, speak your story, speak everything about you, your family, your community, even your country, your own ways, without anybody spinning to your story. And so with that in mind, know how to get in touch with us. Most of you, or all of you, you can be able to reach us via our website, which is www.afridominion.com, www.afridominion.com, or you can reach us via our email, which is info@afridominion.com, info@afridominion.com. When you reach to the website, or when you do log into the website, be sure to also join our group. We have a Telegram group where you can meet other brothers and sisters, those like minds, those that we share the same values, same purpose, same destination. So if you see yourself as wanting to take part in what we are doing, I encourage you and I invite you to come and take part in that. And with that in mind, I want us to jump right in our programs today. But as you are fully aware, since Afri-Dominion Show is a brand new show, it is only fair that for those of you who aren't familiar with what this is about, we can just give you a brief description of what it is and what you can expect. So what is Afri-Dominion? Afri-Dominion, it's an idea that inspires, advocates, and encourages a complete and total take back of Africa Dominion by its sons, daughter, and African descendants, one country at a time, all in the interest of African people, primarily, and then the rest of the world afterwards. So pretty much everything African, driven by African themselves. That's what we're talking about. That's what we're advocating for. That's what we're encouraging. And that's what we are inspiring each and every one of you. So on this show, you can expect to find programs that are there to inspire, to advocate, and to encourage a complete take back of charge of Africa by African themselves for the interests of African people primarily. Because right now we know that most of the stakeholders in Africa are seeking their own best interest primarily, not the interest of African. And because we want to change that, we want to make sure that we are in the driving seat of the leadership of Africa as a continent, the leadership of African countries, and making sure that each and every one of us has a role to play. Because we do, after all, have a role to play. And with that in mind, given the broader scope of this show and everything that we are going to be discussing with you, we have taken it upon ourselves to actually dissect it or to divide it into themes. We have 5 main themes that we talk about from Mondays through Friday. Our show airs from Monday through Friday, 12 p.m. to 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time or Washington, D.C. time. And the themes are as follow. On Mondays, we talk about eradication of refugees and stateless person conditions. And these are specifically African refugees and African stateless person who find themselves in those predicaments. So anything and everything related to that, we talk about that on Mondays, I should say. So welcome, come and hang out with us and come share your story and come also be a part of the solution. On Tuesdays, we talk about the Constitution, law and policy review and implementations. So we know that Africa, just like the rest of the continents throughout the world, it's also run by constitutions. Now, oftentimes when we say Africa, most of you in the West, especially those who aren't familiar with the geography of Africa, Africa is not a continent. I mean, Africa, it's not a country. It is a continent. So when I say the leadership of Africa, I want to make sure that I'm not misleading any of you or giving you an impression that Africa, it's just one country. And that's why we say we do a review of constitutions with an S, laws and policies in various countries within Africa. We want to make sure that these constitutions actually look after the very best interests of the people in practice, not just on piece of paper. Because we know that they are so well written. Beautiful, beautiful pieces drafted and implemented in the people's lives. But are they in the interest of the African people, primarily? Are these laws that are being drafted and enacted in different countries, are they are they actually looking after the very best interest of African people primarily? Or are they looking after the interests of the outsiders of Africa? Same thing with policies. These policies, are they for African people primarily or outsiders? We get to talk about that on Tuesdays. On Wednesdays, it's our testimony time and our history writing by us as a people, always with no apologies. So you get to say what's on your heart. You get to share with us your testimony throughout your life. Something that you have lived, you experience in your own ways, without anyone saying to you, no, this is how we would like you to tell your story. So we want you to be the driving force behind your own story, not someone else, not another party that comes in and say, we want you to say this way so that ABCD takes place. We know that Africa's history has been buried. It has been buried for so many years, so many thousands of years. Even the very few who have access to the history, oftentimes you find yourself targeted, assassinated, because you have the history of Africa. And that history is not the sexiest history that that most of the people would want to bring out. And when I say most of the people, I'm referring to outsiders again. You will hear me mentioning the word outsider, and this is not meant in any way, shape, and form. It is not meant to emphasize or to bring discrimination. It is just a way to refer to those who aren't African descendants, those who weren't born in Africa. They are, after all, outsiders. That's how we are using that word, and that's the meaning of what we mean by that when we say outsiders. So we're not discriminating. We had simply tried to emphasize that these are not the African themselves. These are the people who actually may be in Africa, but not from Africa. Okay, that's what we are referring to when we say outsiders. On Thursdays, we discuss or we talk about the spirit of dominion. What is dominion. And as you have heard or seen me saying, I would say that we want to have a complete take back of Africa dominion. This word dominion, it's a very particular and we have explicitly chose that word. There is a reason why we chose that word. And we want you to be able to really get behind everything, get to know why we're choosing these words, why are we preferring to use these words rather than other words you may be accustomed to. This is all has to do with what's in your head, how you are being programmed on a daily basis. If you do not have charge of your own affairs, individual affairs, family affairs, community affairs, national affairs, etc., how can you take back full charge of the continent? So when we talk about dominion, we literally talking about complete, total leadership, complete control of your own affairs, mastery of your own affairs. Know your issues, your situation, and become the solutions of your own affairs. That's what we're referring to as dominion. A full control of your own affair, of your own affairs as Africans or African descendants. On Fridays, we talk about current events and its impact on the African people and Africa as its whole. So these are the things we discuss with you from Mondays through Friday. You are welcome to join us. We have Zoom open. We also have various platforms plugged in to the studio so that whenever you so choose to come and join the conversation, you have a means to connect with us directly. Even right now as we speak, I do believe that we do have the connection, a live connection to the studio via Zoom. You can also use instant messages of all kinds, either be WhatsApp, Telegram, Signal, Wire, whatever it is that allows you, that gives you an opportunity to connect, to link with us. By all means, do reach out. We also do welcome text messages or whatever it is you may want to share or you may want to put out so that we can send the word out for you. So we welcome them. So today, as you know, it is Friday. We are going to be discussing current events. And I actually forgot, and I think it would be a remiss if I didn't say this. You are accustomed to, when we talk about the current news, that we talking about maybe hot topics, what's being spoken on the street. That's not necessarily the line that we have here at our Free Dominion Show. It could be that, but it could also be some of the most relevant stories that our own people would like to put up. Some of the things we would like to communicate, relevant to the public, relevant to Africans, villages, families, and so on. So we get to choose what we want to share because it is something that has a meaning to a community, to families, communities here, even nations. So you may not necessarily know or be on the same page as what you find on mainstream media because it may not necessarily be what we choose to share with you. And again, you are more than free to come and join in and say, hey, this is also important for me. Would you also talk about this? Would you discuss about this? Which is why we give you a direct link to the studio so you can have a saying in it. So today, what are we going to talk about? The topic for today, we want to talk about COVID-19, African rights being taken away day by day, consequently, and how do we coexist in these trying times. So we want to talk about the COVID-19, people's rights, and how do we coexist. So those are three main topics that I really want to dive in, and I'm not gonna really get into much of it because most of you already are experiencing that. So with that in mind, I want to start with the issue with COVID. As you all are aware, COVID-19 is one of those issues that just doesn't go away. And I want to make sure that we put out some of the stats I have him here, and I want to make sure that I bring him up so that as we have a conversation, you guys can have a chance to chime in and have a saying in it, because it's crucial. It is crucial that some of this information we speak, especially keep in mind that we say that we are talking frankly, which means we're not beating around the bushes on what's happening. And even with you, we welcome any input that you have, as long as it's adding value to the information that we believe that everyone needs to take in account. So today, how are we doing when it comes to COVID-19? As we speak right now, we have 10,398,216 cases of COVID-19 on Africa continent. We have 14,518 new cases, 233,467 deaths, and 9,194,855 recovery. So in other words, we have more people who have recovered from COVID-19 than those who are still sick, and certainly those who have lost their lives. And we also want to extend our condolences to those of you who have lost your loved one as as a result of COVID-19 pandemic. Now, why are we mentioning this? We seem to see that the African leadership is pushing for vaccination so much. However, we have yet to hear, to know, to find out how is it that these 9 million cases of people have healed themselves. Ladies and gentlemen, young people, young Africans, it's imperative that if we have a pandemic, if we have an outbreak, you have full information, all, the entire truth and nothing but the truth all out. It perplexes me that 9 million, more than 9 million people have recovered in Africa. More than 9 million people have recovered in Africa. And out of those 9 million, scientists have yet to say, hey, based on our research, this is what we think it's happening. Instead, they are pushing more of vaccination than fully, having an opportunity to fully understand how is it that these 9 million have recovered so fast. And this is not in any way, shape, and form undermining the efforts that are being taken by various scientists, various hospitals, various doctors in an effort to actually find a vaccine. A working vaccine, not a try and error vaccine sort of thing. Because we need that. We as a society, we have made so much progress learning how to mitigate different situations, especially when it comes to diseases. We are a bit more equipped to handle vaccine, to handle diseases, all kinds of diseases. But we want to make sure that this is not business driven. Because COVID-19 has pushed so much businesses, so much opportunity business-wise, rather than saving lives. And we want to be able to stand up as a people in good conscience, in good faith, and say, hey, this is a solution. This is a permanent solution that we have found that's going to be taking care of all of us as a people, primarily these Africans. Again, I also want to put it to you. How is it that vaccinations being used in Africa, all of it is coming from the West, from the European. Very few countries are still in the try and error, sort of like vaccination of their own. We do know that Africa also has the capacity to create vaccine. How is it that very few African countries are even attempting to come up with a vaccination made by Africans for Africans and the rest of the world. There were so many debates that took place ever since COVID broke out. Especially on one side, conspiracy theorists, on the other sides, scientists and very reputable people and organization putting a huge question mark. Why are you so quickly pushing for vaccination rather than fully understanding what's going on first? While there's nothing wrong with vaccination, however, have you exhausted your research as far as what this disease is about? And it's also been, it has been also graduated to all kinds of namings so that the weight, the importance of dealing with it, it's actually increased. At which point, if you haven't done a full research on the disease or the pandemic, whatever it is you want to call it, is it right for you to push it to the people? Especially if you do not want to take any liability to your findings. I find it so disingenuous. It is really, it is, in my opinion, it's disingenuous that you seek our solution and you claim that it's for the people. However, you want to have zero responsibility to that solution. What am I saying? Pharmaceutical companies, manufacturers, scientists who have come out with this vaccination, they have taken zero liability of any consequences of the solution that they have subscribed to the entire planet. What does that mean, young people? Right now as we speak, if you die as a consequence of you taking COVID-19 vaccination, you cannot go to court and sue a doctor, a hospital, a manufacturer, a pharmaceutical company that manufactured that vaccine. You have the full liability of the consequences of which comes from their own doing. That's one. Secondly, it's being pushed to all the people. There are those who have volunteered to do it, but there is another huge population that has been forced, physically forced, to be vaccinated. Which brings us to the whole issue of rights being taken away. Which also brings us to an issue where the so-called conspiracy theorists are saying all kinds of things. Since when, as human beings, have you heard of other pandemics where the people were forced to take vaccinations? Read my words, forced to take vaccinations. We have so many cases throughout the world where various populations are being forced to take vaccinations. And we will actually give some specifics. And you know which country I like to pick. Rwanda. I get to know more about Rwanda, and I care so much about Rwanda because I happen to have been born from there. But that doesn't mean that I do not care about the rest of the world. But there are most of the information I can easily, I can actually pinpoint on. I have actually researched, and I have so many testimonies, real life testimonies about it, and that's why I like to take, to give an example. But we also have other countries' examples as well. But we want to make sure that if we put something out, we can actually also back it up with some sort of testimony behind it. And so, again, I bring it to you: is it right that a pharmaceutical subscribe a solution, a doctor subscribe a solution, all the stakeholders who are giving us solutions to this pandemic say, by the way, we take zero responsibility of our own solution? What happens to these 233,000 people who have died? Were there any of them who died as a result of having taken the vaccine? Will you care to actually look into that as a people? Let's have a balance. It is absolutely imperative that we save lives. After all, my life is as much valued as your life, same as the lives of those who have already perished. So forgive me if I am not very forthcoming when you say, I want you to take this. By the way, I'm obligating you to take this vaccine. And you are to blame if anything happens, not me. I find that very disingenuous. There is no way you can convince me that you mean well when you do not want to share responsibility with me on a solution that you are subscribing. And this is why I personally can give an ear to any so-called conspiracy theorist, because they have some, after all, there's some validity to what they are saying. They are suspicion about your activity, about your good faith, about your goodwill in providing solutions. On the other side, we also do have another group of people who are working tirelessly day and night, day and night, day and night, day and night, seeking to give us permanent solution of this disease. However, we have a third group of people who want to make money, whose purpose in this whole pandemic situation is to make money. And this is where now, as Africans, I question you. Is Africa so poor? Is Africa so dumb that all African scientists, none of you can come up with a vaccine such as any of the vaccines that you are marketing, of which are coming from Europe and the United States, even Asia? Are you telling us as a people that you are not capable of coming up with a vaccine? There is an issue with funding. And I ask you, in an emergency, who dares to say, I want money before I give you a solution? After all, this is an issue that can wipe us all out, according to what we are being told. Why, as a people, you are so worried, you are so busy saying who's going to pay for this, when after all it could be your life on the line? I just don't understand that. Why is the money card a part of what we have to discuss when it comes to saving lives today? And most of you might say that, get used to it, son. This is how the world moves. But I submit to you that all the resources that we have in Africa, we have the solution to each and every one of the diseases we have on this planet Earth, including diseases like AIDS. We have a solution, a permanent solution for them. You know, today, if you're rich, you can swallow a little pill that can take care of your AIDS, your HIV. A lot of these so-called fatal diseases are no longer fatal to the few. They have become diseases that you can manage and live long to be 90, 100 without being sick in the bed every single day. But I get to ask of you, why is it that the very few have access to that, but the rest of the population cannot? When the disease doesn't choose whether it goes to the rich person or a poor person, or a poor person. If I don't have the means to have access to that medication, how will that benefit me? And these are the issues I want to put it to you as Africans. We have the resources, we have the know-how, but we do not have the will, or we lack the will to do it for our own people. Money aside, my gifts will always provide for me and my family, and so is your gifts. If we're talking about saving lives, I do not understand why money has to be primary, or it has to be issue number one that actually dictates everything we are going to do. We have been taught, or we have been told that vaccines do not go in general public at least before 2 years' time. Most of the vaccines, most of the medications that have been distributed throughout, they go through various phases and various trials before it's injected in human beings. We can agree that most of these vaccines have been fast-tracked. Why? Because they say that, you know what, we will take all the risk and save lives than not taking any risk and end up losing everything. That's how it was sold as a package. All the safeguards have been waived, taken away, which is what pharmaceuticals said, by the way, if you want us to fast track this thing, we want to make sure that we take zero liability. And the government said, right on. Again, most of the people have not accepted this right on, go for it. But they were imposed upon those policies by the governments. So today we have how many shots of vaccine do you have to take now? I believe we are on 3 shots, 3 dosage, and some of them are taking 4. Out of these 4 dosage that you've got to take for COVID-19, can they assure you that you're not going to catch another variant of COVID-19? Frankly speaking, it's a hell no. While the efforts are to save lives, to save people, that issue of money, that issue of business, that issue of who's going to be saved, but also that question mark, what's in this vaccine? It's causing most people not to go directly, not to actually support all these efforts. So you as Africans, I ask you that you read. You scientists, break it down for us. Let us know what's in these vaccines. How are they being created? How are they being manufactured? Are they in the best interest of our bodies? After all, it is us who are being injected. It is us who are taking full liability of the consequences. And it is us, in the end, who either are going to die or live on. So you need to be able to be in that driving seat where you have all the apples on the table. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Be aware of it before you are injected this vaccine. And that's where I keep on saying it is disingenuous that you subscribe something but you take zero liability. If you really are working in good faith, why would you not share liability with the people you are injecting your vaccine? Why are you not sharing the knowledge, the know-how, so that this vaccine can be distributed, can be accessed by every scientist, every doctor who can be able to take care of it, especially if you want to save humankind. I submit to you that these issues, as they are, part of it is making people not wanting to come forth to be vaccinated. Speaking of which, let's go to Rwanda. Did you know that right now as we speak in Rwanda, the government of Rwanda is forcing the people to be vaccinated? It's not it's not voluntary to be vaccinated. And not only that, I want to give you the numbers in Rwanda. So currently in Rwanda, let's see what we have in Rwanda as cases. Because sometimes what's happening is just crazy. It is so crazy, and it's incredible how how it's just taken a different turn that most of you may not have been predicting on it. So how are we doing in Rwanda? In Rwanda, they say that we have a total of 123,886 cases of coronavirus. And out of that, they say that we have 1,395 deaths. And out of that, we have 45,522 people who have fully recovered. Now, the interesting part is when it first started, most people were recovering faster. So in other words, we are being told that today in Rwanda, we have how many active cases? 76,969 of people with COVID-19. And I'm wondering, what is so different in Rwanda than the rest of the nations? That now we have many active cases of coronavirus than the rest of the nations. Young people, think about that. How is it that Rwanda, as small as it is, now there is many cases of coronavirus than we ever had before? The government has said that at least 80% of the entire population in Rwanda have at least received the first dosage of coronavirus vaccination. Now, in a state where everyone is being regarded as a slave, you have a full control of their own body. Such is what's happening in Rwanda. Again, frankly speaking, and boldly speaking, with no apologies. We have people fleeing the country, going to the Democratic Republic of the Congo, Uganda, Tanzania, and Burundi, because they do not want to be vaccinated. They are being forced to be vaccinated. Go on any one of these internet searches. Check out the news this week only. Point of case, the DRC, or the Democratic Republic of the Congo, have deported a number of Rwandese people who have fled there because they didn't want to be vaccinated. They were being forced to be vaccinated. Forced to be vaccinated. You have zero saying in whether you choose to be vaccinated or not. We're talking about constitutional rights to life, liberty, and your happiness as a people. So the Constitution has been pretty much suspended. Your rights as citizens of Rwanda, as citizens of various African countries, have been suspended. Because you are being told that we're fighting with COVID-19. Now, and I'm asking you, as African countries, is it right that you force your own people to be vaccinated when you have yet to guarantee that the vaccine is completely clear, that there are no consequences arriving or that may be arriving from these vaccines? Understand me, I am for vaccination. They save lives. But take full responsibility of these vaccines. If you are not willing to share the liability, do not force the people to be vaccinated. And that's why we're telling the people, we must be able to take full control of our own leadership. Take back the full dominion of your own families, of your own communities, of your own country. If today Rwanda was run by the people, you would not be seeing a military, the police, taking upon themselves to round down people and force them to be vaccinated. Just picture Washington, D.C., the army going door to door, vaccinating the people by force. Would you actually see that taking place in the United States? Would you see that taking place in France? Would you see that taking place in Canada, in UK, in Germany, in China, in Russia? Should I go on? Why is it okay that these countries are providing the means in terms of medication, in terms of vaccination, in terms of the resources to actually to pin down the people? Are we being made as, are we being actually used as guinea pigs, and we are not being taught, or we have not been communicated that that's what's happening? How is it that Rwanda, as small as it is, has managed to vaccinate 80% of its people, of its population? And they're claiming that because of good communication, everyone is volunteering. That is a complete lie. Most people are not volunteering. They are being forced to do that. We have testimonies, both on the official side, on the government official side, those who want to be anonymous, and then the people who have been forced to be vaccinated. And I'm wondering, when you hear of that, why would you even think that it is for our own good? The city of Kigali, which is the capital of Rwanda, is rounding down the people and forcing them to be vaccinated. Now you're telling me, is it because they have no single clue that the people are citizens of Rwanda, or they're just slaves of the country? If they are absolutely not acknowledging that these are citizens who have the right to choose, the right to life, next week, we will actually take the time and read out the Constitution of Rwanda. And look how beautiful the Constitution is. We would also highlight every single one of the Constitution rights that's been taken away from the people. And the entire community, entire international community is watching. Africans are watching. Africans are praising President Kagame and the government of Rwanda for amazing, amazing work. However, you have yet to actually look right underneath of the hood and see how Rwanda is actually governed. You listen to advertisers, you listen to lobbyists, and you get the pre-selected information that they want you to see, that they want you to know. But the good, the bad, and the ugly, you never get to know. The truth, nothing but the truth, the raw information. So we want you guys to wake up and smell the coffee. The East African community, they just had a meeting this week. And this meeting, if I'm not mistaken, it was led by Dr. Peter Mathuki of East African Community. He's the Secretary General of East African Community. And they are encouraging that all African countries, all East African countries get together and actually up their measures in dealing with COVID-19. These people are taking decisions on behalf of the people that they have not consulted. Can we talk real? Can we actually be can we actually be frank when we talk? Politics on the side. Who is going to take the liabilities of everything that's happening today, guys? Who is going to take the liability? We are for fighting the pandemic, absolutely. But fight it right. Do not impose on the people measures that you have yet to study, both short-term and long-term consequences. Tell the people the benefits. Give them the risk also that they face, both short-term and long-term. Share the liability. If you are not willing to do that, do not think that we are going to also just come in as sheep, going for slaughter, and just come and cooperate with you. That's not our spirit, and that should never be the spirit. I personally would not encourage that, because if you do not consider me, if you do not value me, that I have an opinion in whatever it is you want to do, then why should I cooperate with you? Especially if you say that for any consequences that arrives from there, I am the primary caretaker or the primary, person who's going to assume the liabilities. We want to be able to set up policies that is going to hold the government accountable, pharmaceutical accountable, doctors in hospital accountable. If you really want to help the people in the interest of the people, it has to be shared responsibility as well, shared liability as well. Remember, you're using the tax dollars, the tax money of the people, trying to take control of the people, using their own resources is unconscionable. And young people, I say, wake up and smell the coffee. Wake up and think about it. How do we coexist as a people, as Africans, in various countries that you are? Can we coexist as a people? Can we look after the very interest of each and every one of us, be it Africans or even the rest of the world, but without infringing or without imposing our own ideals to someone else or to a village, to a community here, to families there? Can we coexist? Can we not force one another? Can we not impose to one another ways of lives that we don't necessarily subscribe in? What's the point of closing borders, nation borders, in the interest of containing the pandemic, yet it is only and exclusively closed to the masses, not the very few who can go anywhere, anytime they want? I want to let you know that ever since COVID-19 break out and then turned out pandemic erupted throughout the world, with all the lockdowns that we have had, these have been primarily lockdown of the poor people, of the most unimportant people. Travel has continued throughout the whole entire world, which is how some of these remote places also kept on receiving, or they got infected. You cannot tell me that if a country is on a lockdown, COVID-19 is going to get in there. How is it going to get there if it's not transmitted there? Flights continued every single day since we learned of COVID-19 up until today. Business continued, but for the very few, not for the masses. And that's the truth. So the affairs of the people, you business people, you own business, you have not taken the time to know what's happening with your own communities, with your own nations. And as consequences, someone upstairs in Washington, someone upstairs in Paris, someone upstairs in Shanghai or in London or Berlin is deciding how they are going to run your life, is deciding when to take the shot, when to get off of it, when to give you the measures that you have to be imposed upon in your own country, in your own villages, in your own community, and in your own family. Back again to the Rwandese people. In Rwanda, it's just like an open prison. Truth speaking, and I dare all of you to come and challenge this statement. Rwanda is an open prison. And we speak this knowing the implication of that. That's what it is. The entire world knows about that, unfortunately, but they choose to zip it up. They don't want to say nothing about it. But we, the people, we have to be able to say what's happening truthfully. And we have to also say enough is enough. We want to regain our own lives. We want to coexist with the rest of the world in dignity, in respect. We want to have our own children growing to be old or to become old, and not to be brutalized by a soldier on the street, brutalized by a police officer. Most of these countries are they're looking after Rwanda as a model country, but they have no idea how military, how soldiers, how police, how various security apparatus in Rwanda is brutalizing the people, is abusing the people openly. They don't hide it. But because you're not hearing of that on the mainstream media, you're being given that very beautiful looking picture, predetermined to be given to you. I submit to you, dig deeper and see what's happening in Rwanda. Dig deeper and see what's happening in East Africa. See whose interest is it that's being looked after primarily. And I submit to you, it's not the people's interest. And we want to be able to change that. And we want to be able to stay safe at the same time. And we want to be able to coexist with the rest of the world. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are asking you, especially you sons, daughters, and African descendants, get involved in the African affairs, in the African leadership, in the governorship of Africa, in the governorship of your own country, of your respective country, of your communities. Be involved in the day-to-day operations there. Be a part of that. Because you not doing it gives a license to an outsider to do that. It is our responsibilities as sons, daughters, and African descendants to find out what is best for us. What is our best interest first? Can we fight for our own best interest? Can we boldly fight for it, knowing that it might clash with someone else whose interest we are actually bringing to the back end? Obviously, we are going to clash. Those whose interest is being looked after primarily right now are going to be upset naturally. But you must understand that you come first before those out there. They already have resources out there, but they're coming for your resources and adding it to their own resources. So you need to be able to be better managers of your own resources. Use your brain, use your so godly given gifts. Manage your own affairs and then go and manage the world affairs. We have to do that. Never mind you never went to school, you never had this and that and that and that. This is not the time for young people. The gifts that you have are not the kind of gifts that the school gives you. Schools never give any gift to anybody. Listen to me again. Schools have never given any gift or gifts to anyone. Schools, if you're lucky, they wake up your gifts. If you are lucky and they actually pay attention to you and they get to know what's inside of you, they actually direct you in ways that can wake it up. That's all they do. There's not a single school on the universe that will give you a gift. Because every single gift that's inside of you, it's a natural gift. Now, if you decide to go and pick up someone else's gift, definitely you can go to school. They have mastered in copy and paste. They can actually teach you someone else's gift. But because it is not your gift naturally, you are going to have to work hard for that someone else's gift. To the extent it's going to give you a hard time because that is just not you. Naturally, it is not you. And imagine if you try to be someone else, but who you are naturally is right then and there, but you've never given a thought of it. You've never taken the time to discover who you are as a person, who you are as a people. Can you blame someone who's running your life, someone who's telling you that you are nothing, you are worthless, for doing that? There are some battles that you're going to have to fight for you, for your own, without anyone helping you. I can never tell you what your gift is. It is you who have to figure it out. Once I find out what your gift is, I can say, okay, you know what? I may know how to help you to wake it up. And that's all I'm doing. I cannot give you a gift neither. You cannot give me a gift. I know who am I. You can try to tell me who I am. But then, of course, if my head is twisted like that, I will go for it. But not today, not tomorrow, not ever. So young people, know who you are. Know who you are as a people. Know that you are important to planet Earth. Not just your own country, not just your community, not just your own families. You have a gift, one of a kind. You are the only one on this planet Earth with that kind of gift. And that's a solution of some of the issues happening today. But if you have never seen yourself like that, if you have never valued yourself to that extent, you will always be told that you are a monkey. That you used to be a monkey, or that you come from a line of monkeys who slowly, after thousands and millions of years, became a human being. It is not me though. I was never a monkey, and I never came from a monkey's line. It could be you, your family, or those of you who claim that you have been monkeys, but it certainly isn't me. My Father created me as I am today. There is no revolution in me as a person. I was very carefully crafted, and so were you. I was finished before I start. The same way a building is finished before you start building it. There's no mistake in any fiber in my bones today. And I submit to you, there is not one single mistake inside of you as a people, Africans, even the rest of the world. But I'm talking straight to you, brothers and sisters, and African descendants primarily right now. So get to know that you are as important as anybody else on planet Earth. Not only you are important, you are super important in your own gift. But it's up for you. It's up to you to wake it up. It's up to you to wake it up. Share with us your fruit. Share with us your gift. Be a part of the solution. Don't just go out there and copy and paste what's in the United States and bring it in your own village when it's non-applicable. We have been given a spirit of copy and paste, copy and paste, copy and paste. We gotta get rid of that spirit. That's not you. That's not who you are. It's expensive to be someone that you are not. It's very, very, very expensive. And I encourage you, young people, become who you are. Everybody else is taken. Do not try to be someone that you are not. Do not try to force yourself to go do something you're not. You can do it, true, but it is going to be hard. It's going to be a losing battle in the long run. There's nothing worse in life than becoming successful in something that is not you naturally. Not every success is good, but young people, not every success is good. Go after the success that is right for you, that is naturally yours. And I submit to you, if you do that, you will always have a rewarding life that's going to save all of us as a people, collectively, and even the rest of the world. And this is where I am going to actually end our conversation for today. And I really want to say to all of you young people, remember who you are as a people. Become yourself. Become yourself, young people. Fight for what is right. even if you spit your blood for it. There is a saying in Kinyarwanda that you refuse to give your blood to your country and the dogs drink it for free. Don't be that person. Fight for what is right for you, for your family, for your community and your country. Be in the right position, be in the right standing. Always. Be afraid to nobody, but be respectful to everybody. You are extremely valuable to the planet, not just your own people, to the planet. The quicker you get to know that you are valuable, the more you will actually allow yourself to position as you should. So again, COVID-19 as it is real. But the measures against it, you need to be able to say this is what we want as a people. Don't be forced to do things you shouldn't be doing. Don't be forced to adhere to the measures that have zero interest in you as a family, as a community, even as a nation. We talk about people committing treason every single day. There is a day coming that a whole lot of the leadership, especially government officials, are going to go to prison for everything they're doing in the name of these trying times that we are in. We will strip off the immunity you think you have. We will strip it off. And whatever the agreement that you have signed, we consider that signing agreement with toddlers, with children, babies. We need fiduciary services for the people all the time. Africans, become fiduciary to one another. Look after the interests of your own people, of your own families, of your own communities. And do not allow any government agencies to force you in a pothole. Remember, the government works for the people. It's not the people who work for the government. If the governments aren't looking after the very best interest of you as a people, get rid of them. Let's get rid of them. Real talk. So with that in mind, I am so grateful that you guys have tuning in. Again, as always, feel free. Send us some feedbacks. Let us know what you think of the program and be a part of it next time. We're here every Friday from 12 to 1:30 on these themes, on the current news and the impact it's having towards you as a people all over. So for those of you who do not know how to reach out to us, our website is www.afridominion.com. Email is info@afridominion.com. Join us Mondays all the way to Fridays from 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time all the way to 1:30. And be sure to take charge of your own self. Have that self-government within you. Be self-disciplined. And then extend that to the rest of our communities. And with that in mind, I am Freeman Singirankabo with Afri Dominion Show. Until next time, until Monday, I wish you all a beautiful weekend. Be safe, may God bless, and be a good steward to one another. All right, people? Until next time. Peace.